I'm going to show you how to use random numbers with a MicroBit. It's the beginning of a lot of different cool projects, a few of which you can see down here in tutorials, but I'm just going to walk you through it in a blank project. So the first thing I'll show you is how to display a number, which is easy enough. You just grab this first block and stick it inside the forever. And once this updates, you can stick it on there. And you can change that number to anything you want to, and it'll show up on there. But what we want to do is not show a specific number, but instead show a random number. So the first thing we need to do is make a container or make a variable to hold that random number. Now you can name it anything you want to. You can name it turtle or mashed potatoes or whatever. But since the thing we're going to put in this container is a number, I'm just going to call it number. And when you do that, you're going to get these 3 blocks right here. I'm going to need this one, and I'm going to need this one. So what I want to do is, instead of showing the 7, I want to show this thing called number. Right? And I want to set it to something, not necessarily when it starts like this, but let me just show you how this would work. I can stick a 5 there, and now it will jump to here because this container number now has a value of 5. But I don't want it to be 5. I want it to be random. So I'm going to come down here into math and grab the random number block. And to start, I'll just say a random number 1 to 2. Okay, so that time it's 2, and if I refresh, this time it's 1. So you can see it's bouncing back and forth between those. Not super interesting. Now let's grab one of these on shakes and drag this down here. That way it can happen more than once without having to refresh the whole screen. Now on your actual MicroBit, you would physically shake it to make it reset, but since you can't shake the screen on this virtual one, there's this shake button. Okay, so now let's switch it to 6. Now I'm choosing 6 because if you roll a dice, you're going to get a value between 1 and 6. So that's working just fine, right? Okay, we don't need this. I'll get it out of the way. So now what I'd like to do is think about what you can do with this random value. So the example I'd like to show is like a Harry Potter sorting hat. Now there are 4 houses in Harry Potter, so we would just make this 1 to 4 instead of 1 to 6. And now inside of our logic, we're going to grab one of these ifs. And we're going to put this into forever. Okay, so back to logic, we're going to grab an equals. So let's steal this number thing and say, if the number that we get whenever we shake, if the number equals 1, get rid of this for now, then let's display an H for Hufflepuff. And we can duplicate this so that we can say if the number is 2, then show us a G for Gryffindor. And we'll do it 2 more times. We'll make 3 be an R for Ravenclaw. We could do it again. And a 4 would be Slytherin. We'll make them go last because they're evil, I guess. All right, so now when we shake, we're not going to get a number, but instead we're going to get a value associated with that number. So if you wanted to make a randomized coin flipper, you could use the same code, but you would change this to a 2. And so it'd be a random number between 1 and 2. And if you got a 1, you'd say heads. And if you got a 2, you'd say tails. which, by the way, you can make this say the whole thing, and it will scroll. Let's shake it until we get... So G is still short. Now there's Hufflepuff. So you can make the whole thing pop up on there if you want to. You could also use this to make a Magic 8 Ball where you could have as many different responses as you wanted to. So it could say, ask again later, definitely, probably not, I'm not sure. Or maybe you can come up with something completely different that uses the same basic